There's a strange paradox in the world we live in today. Never in human history has so much knowledge been available to so many people, so quickly, so freely. With a few taps on a phone, you can access libraries of wisdom, lectures from the greatest minds, and step-by-step instructions for almost anything you could dream of achieving. Yet, if knowledge alone guaranteed success, then everyone with an internet connection should already be wealthy, healthy, and fulfilled. But that is not the reality. The reality is that most people stop at knowledge. They collect it. They store it. They binge it. Like a hobby, they read the books, watch the videos, take the courses, attend the seminars, and for a moment they feel smarter, more inspired, more prepared. But when you look at their lives 6 months later, nothing has changed. The body is the same. The bank account is the same. The habits are the same. And the results, painfully, are the same. Why? Because knowledge is not the destination. It is only the starting point. Knowledge is potential energy, waiting to be released. But unless it is acted upon, unless it is applied, it lies dormant, gathering dust in the back of your mind. And the truth is, the world doesn't pay you for what you know. It pays you for what you do with what you know. The bridge between knowledge and results is not more reading, not more note-taking, not even more motivation. The bridge is execution. The bridge is doing the uncomfortable, imperfect, and often inconvenient work of turning ideas into actions. Knowledge without action is like a map you never use. It might show you the path, but it will never take you there. Think about it. A person could spend years studying fitness, reading every book on nutrition, memorizing every workout routine. But if they never step foot in a gym, never push themselves through the sweat and discomfort, all that knowledge produces nothing. On the other hand, someone with half the knowledge but twice the action will get the results every single time. So the question is not, do you know enough? The real question is, are you doing enough with what you already know? You don't need to learn 1,000 new things before you can start. You need to act on the 5 things you already know, but haven't yet applied. That's the bridge. The bridge is discipline. The bridge is consistency. The bridge is having the courage to act when others are still planning. And once you step onto that bridge, once you start applying knowledge, even in small steps, results will begin to show up in your life. We live in a time unlike any other in history. Knowledge has never been so abundant, so accessible, and so immediate. In seconds, you can search for answers that once took scholars years to uncover. You can watch lectures, read books, and access expertise from every corner of the world. In theory, this should make us unstoppable. If information alone created success, then today should be the age of extraordinary results. Yet, paradoxically, we see the opposite. Despite the flood of knowledge, most people's lives look strikingly similar year after year. Their health doesn't improve, their finances remain strained, and their dreams stay parked in the realm of someday. Because knowledge by itself does not guarantee transformation. It's potential, not power. The reason people stay stuck at the knowing stage is comfort. Learning feels safe. Reading, listening, and planning give the illusion of progress without the discomfort of risk, failure, or hard work. It feels productive, but nothing changes. The truth is, knowing is not enough. The bridge between knowing and achieving is built only when we step into action, when we dare to do, not just to learn. It's an incredible time to be alive. We've got more information at our fingertips than the greatest thinkers of history ever dreamed possible. You can pull out a phone, type a question, and in seconds have the answer. You can find out how to get in shape, how to invest, how to start a business, how to build relationships, how to live with purpose. The amount of knowledge available is staggering. But here's the catch. Knowledge by itself doesn't change your life. Knowledge is only potential. Think about it. A book on health doesn't make you healthy. A seminar on wealth doesn't make you wealthy. A lecture on discipline doesn't make you disciplined. You can fill your head with all the right principles, but if those principles never move from your mind to your actions, they sit there like unused tools, gathering dust. A hammer lying on the floor never built a house. The builder had to pick it up, swing it, and use it. Knowledge is the same way. It waits, it's full of promise, but it will not reward you until you use it. Too many people confuse understanding with achievement. They think because they know something, it should count for something. But the marketplace doesn't pay you for what you know. It pays you for what you do. Results don't come from information. They come from execution. You could study nutrition for 10 years, know every vitamin, every calorie, every exercise plan. But if you never lace up your shoes, never sweat through a workout, never adjust your meals, the knowledge doesn't work for you. It just sits there, like an uncashed check. And here's what makes it even more deceptive. Knowledge feels good. Learning something new can give you a rush, a spark of inspiration, a sense of progress. But it's an illusion if you don't act. You feel smarter, but your life isn't different. You feel motivated, but your circumstances don't change. The danger is in mistaking that feeling for results. Reading a book on success doesn't make you successful. Listening to advice on leadership doesn't make you a leader. That bridge has to be crossed with action. Now, I'm not saying knowledge isn't valuable. Of course it is. Knowledge is the map, the direction, the foundation, but it's not the building. You wouldn't frame a house with blueprints alone. You'd have to pick up the hammer, cut the wood, pour the concrete, and do the work. Knowledge is the beginning of change, but it isn't the end of it. The big question is, what are you doing with what you know? Not how many books are on your shelf. Not how many podcasts you've heard. Not how many notes you've taken. But what have you done today with even one piece of that knowledge? Because one idea put into action is worth more than 100 ideas sitting in your notebook. That's the great divide. Some people are drowning in information but starving for transformation. They keep searching for the next secret, the next strategy, the next shortcut, instead of applying the wisdom they already have. The truth is, most of us don't need more information. We need more application. You already know enough to change your health, to change your income, to change your relationships. The real challenge is whether you'll take that knowledge and put it to work. Remember, this knowledge is potential power. Action is real power. Knowledge can make you aware, but only action makes you achieve. The gap between the life you have and the life you want isn't more information. It's more execution. So don't just learn it, live it. Don't just know it, show it. And when you do, that's when knowledge becomes results. Knowledge is like energy stored in a battery. It's there, full of potential, waiting to be released. But until it's used, it doesn't light up the bulb. It doesn't turn the motor. It doesn't power the machine. And that's where so many people live their lives, carrying around a battery that's never connected, never switched on, never put to use. You see it everywhere. People read endlessly about fitness. They know every workout routine, every diet plan, every supplement. But the knowledge sits there like stored energy, because they never walk into the gym, never change what's on their plate, never push through the sweat. They know what to do, but they stop at knowing, or take finances. So many people study wealth, watch videos on investing, memorize strategies, listen to successful entrepreneurs talk. They could explain compound interest better than a banker, but they don't save, they don't invest, they don't discipline their spending. And so the knowledge just sits there, stored energy, never released. The same is true in business. Someone can attend seminar after seminar, take notes on leadership, learn sales strategies, memorize marketing techniques. But if they never make the phone call, never knock on the door, never test the market, then the business never grows. Knowledge without practice is like seeds in a jar. You can admire them, collect them, even label them. But unless you plant them, water them, and let them grow, you'll never taste the harvest. So the question is, why do people stop at knowing? Why do they get the information but never release the energy? The answer is simple. It's comfortable. It feels safe. You see, learning doesn't cost you much. There's no embarrassment in reading a book. No rejection in watching a video, no risk in taking notes. It feels productive, but it demands very little. Action, on the other hand, asks for courage. Action demands discipline. Action puts you on the line. You could fail, you could stumble, you could look foolish. And for most people, the fear of that is stronger than the hunger for results. Another reason is perfectionism. People tell themselves they'll act once they know enough. Once they've mastered every detail, once they're ready. But the truth is, you'll never feel ready. Waiting for perfect knowledge before you act is like waiting for the ocean to stop having waves before you dive in. Life doesn't work that way. You learn more by doing than by studying. Every action teaches you something the book can't. Every failure gives you a lesson the seminar won't. And then there's procrastination. People believe they'll act tomorrow or next week or next year. They tell themselves they're preparing, but really they're stalling. They confuse planning with progress. But the clock doesn't wait. Knowledge left unused today becomes regret tomorrow. So people stop at knowing because it's easy, it's safe, it's comfortable. But let me tell you this. Comfort zones are where dreams go to die. Stored energy doesn't light the world. Released energy does. Knowledge doesn't move mountains. Action does. You don't need to know everything. You need to do something with what you already know. Remember, the world doesn't reward you for storing information. It rewards you for creating transformation. That's the difference between those who dream and those who achieve. Those who stop at knowing live with potential. Those who act on what they know live with results. The bridge between knowledge and results has always been the same. It isn't talent. It isn't luck. It isn't waiting for the stars to line up. The bridge is action. The bridge is execution. The bridge is taking what you know, no matter how little or how imperfect, and putting it to work. Now, here's the truth. Most people never step onto that bridge. They stay on the side of knowing, collecting more and more information, telling themselves that someday they'll cross, but they don't. Because the other side demands risk, and risk feels uncomfortable. Learning is safe. Reading a book won't embarrass you. Taking notes in a seminar won't get you rejected. Watching another video won't put you on the line. But acting comes with a price. When you act, you could stumble. You could fail. People could laugh. You could discover that you don't have it all figured out. And that fear keeps most people camped on the shore of knowledge, never daring to cross the bridge into results. Then comes perfectionism. People wait until they know enough, until they're ready, until everything is just right. But let me tell you something. You'll never know enough, you'll never be fully ready, and nothing will ever be perfect. Life doesn't reward preparation without action. It rewards imperfect action that gets refined along the way. The bridge doesn't demand that you walk it flawlessly. It only demands that you take the first step. You don't have to see the whole span. You just need to trust that each step forward will reveal the next. And then there's procrastination, the quiet thief of dreams. People say, I'll start tomorrow. I'll begin next week. I'll get serious next year. But you and I both know tomorrow becomes next week. And next week becomes next year. And before long, the opportunity is gone. The bridge is still there, but the strength, the time, the momentum, they've slipped away. Procrastination convinces you that you're waiting for the right moment, when in reality, you're just standing still. And standing still never gets you across. So the bridge is not complicated. It's built from simple things: discipline, consistency, courage, discipline, to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Consistency to show up day after day, stacking small steps until they turn into big results. And courage to face the discomfort, to risk failure, to accept imperfection, and to move anyway. You've probably heard the saying, knowledge is power, but that's not quite true. Knowledge is only potential power. Action is power. Knowledge is the plan. Action is the bridge. Knowledge is the seed. Action is the planting, the watering, the tending, the harvest. Without action, knowledge is like food left on the table. It looks good, it smells good, but if you never eat it, it never nourishes you. So here's the choice we all face. Stay on the shore of knowing, safe but stagnant, or step onto the bridge of doing, uncertain but alive. If you step onto the bridge, yes, you might stumble, yes, you might fall, but at least you'll move. At least you'll grow, and eventually, you'll cross. The bridge is there for anyone willing to walk it. Not just for the talented, not just for the lucky, but for anyone with the discipline, the consistency, and the courage to take the first step. That's the bridge. That's where the magic happens. That's how you turn knowledge into results. Results don't come because you know more. Results come because you do more with what you know. The bridge we've been talking about is built with three things: execution, discipline, and action. That's the recipe. Not talent, not luck, not waiting for the perfect opportunity. Just execution, discipline, and action. You see, the world isn't impressed with what's in your head. It's impressed with what shows up in your life. If you say you know how to get fit, it's not the knowledge that proves it. It's the strength in your body. It's the energy in your step. If you say you know how to build wealth, it's not the books on your shelf that prove it. It's the stability in your finances, the assets you've built, the freedom you enjoy. If you say you know leadership, it's not the seminars you've attended. It's the people you've influenced, the teams you've inspired, the vision you've turned into reality. The proof is in the application, not the awareness. And here's the beautiful part. Results don't demand giant leaps. They demand small, consistent steps. Most people wait for a big break, a big plan, a big moment to change their lives. But big plans that never get executed are worth less than small steps that are taken daily. One push-up done is more valuable than 100 push-ups planned. $1 invested is more powerful than $1,000 dreamed about. One phone call made is stronger than 100 contacts written in your notebook. The small steps compound. They multiply. They turn into momentum. The danger of chasing only big plans is paralysis. You sit there thinking, when I have enough time, when I have enough money, when I have the perfect plan, then I'll start. But waiting for perfect conditions is just another way of staying stuck. The seasons of life don't wait for you. The clock doesn't stop until you're ready. And by the time you think everything is perfect, the opportunity has already passed. That's why discipline is so critical. Discipline is doing it anyway, even when it's not convenient, even when it's not comfortable, even when it's not perfect. Discipline is putting one brick down today, then another tomorrow, and another the next day. Before long, those bricks become a wall, and that wall becomes a house. Consistency builds the bridge, not intensity for one day, but steady effort over many days. Think of the farmer. He doesn't plant once, then expect a harvest tomorrow. He plants daily, waters daily, tends daily, and waits patiently. His results come not from knowing how farming works, but from applying what he knows consistently. That's the law of life. Knowledge tells you what to do. Action gives you the harvest. So the question is never, do you know enough? The real question is, have you applied enough? Because the gap between knowing and having is filled with doing. You don't need to know 100 things to transform your life. You need to take action on 5 things you already know but haven't yet done. Execution. Discipline. Action. That's the bridge. And if you walk it, even with small, shaky, imperfect steps, the results will show up. Not overnight, not instantly, but surely, consistently, inevitably. Results belong to the doers, not the dreamers. The world has never paid for information. It pays for transformation. That's the truth. You don't get rewarded just because you know. You get rewarded because you do. You get rewarded because you take that information. You act on it, and you turn it into something real, something valuable, something that makes a difference. But here's the problem we face today: information overload. People are drowning in information, but starving for action. They've got books stacked high, podcasts playing in their ears, videos saved for later, notes scribbled in journals. They're loaded with facts, insights, and strategies. Yet their life doesn't look any different. Why? Because the flood of knowledge has become a substitute for action. They're too busy consuming to start producing. They confuse gathering ideas with making progress. Think about the great success stories. They weren't built on knowing everything. They were built on doing something. The person who started a business didn't wait until they had read every book on entrepreneurship. They took the idea they had and acted on it. The person who turned their health around didn't wait until they understood every scientific study. They laced up their shoes and went for a run. The person who became a leader didn't wait until they attended every leadership seminar. They stepped up, made decisions, and learned as they went. Results come from doing, not just knowing. The people who succeed are not always the ones who know the most. In fact, often they know less than others. But here's their advantage. They act on what they know, while others are still reading, still planning, still waiting. They've already taken 10 steps forward, and every step forward teaches them more than any book could. Now, don't misunderstand me. Knowledge is important. Learning is valuable, but learning without application becomes a trap. You can get addicted to the feeling of knowing. It feels safe. It feels smart. It feels like progress. But unless that knowledge moves into your daily actions, it doesn't count. It's like collecting tools and never building anything. You might own the sharpest saw, the strongest hammer, the finest drill, but unless you pick them up and use them, you'll never build the house. That's why the discipline of acting on even one idea is so powerful. One idea put into practice is worth more than 100 ideas left on paper. Don't wait until you've mastered everything. Mastery doesn't come from knowing. Mastery comes from doing. Every time you act, you learn, you adjust, you grow. And before long, those small actions compound into transformation. The challenge then is not to know more, but to do more with what you already know. Instead of asking, what else should I learn? Start asking, what have I done today with what I already know? That simple shift will take you from being a collector of information to being a creator of results. Remember, the world doesn't pay for information. It pays for transformation. So don't let information overload keep you stuck. Choose one idea, act on it, live it, and watch it change your life. Because in the end, the rewards don't go to those who know the most, but to those who do the most with what they know. The habit of execution is what separates the dreamers from the doers, the planners from the achievers, the people who collect knowledge from the people who collect results. And here's the good news. You don't need to start with everything. You don't need to master 100 principles or memorize 1,000 strategies. You simply need to begin with what you already know. That's enough to get you moving. Most people get stuck because they think they need more information before they can act. They keep saying, I'll start when I've learned a little more, when I've read another book, when I've finished another course. But that's not how progress works. You don't need 10 new ideas. You need to apply one old one. One principle lived out is worth more than 10 principles stacked on a shelf. Think about it. You already know how to improve your health. Eat better. Move more. Sleep well. You don't need another book on fitness before you start. You need to take a walk. Drink more water. Put away the junk food. That's execution. You already know how to improve your finances. Spend less than you earn. Save consistently. Invest wisely. You don't need to study every detail of the stock market before you begin. You need to put a few dollars aside today. That's execution. You already know how to build better relationships. Listen more. Speak kindly. Show up for people. You don't need a library of psychology books. You need to make the phone call. Write the note. Give the compliment. That's execution. The habit of execution begins small. Don't underestimate it. Success is rarely one giant leap. It's a series of small, consistent steps taken over and over again. One push-up may not change your body, but 100 days of push-ups will. $1 saved may not change your finances, but 100 months of saving will. One kind gesture may not transform a relationship, but 1,000 acts of kindness will. It's the small disciplines practiced daily that create the big results eventually. But here's the key. You have to train yourself to act. Execution has to become a habit. Just like brushing your teeth or tying your shoes. It should become automatic. The moment you learn something useful, your first thought should be, how can I apply this today? Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. The faster you turn knowledge into action, the stronger your habit of execution becomes. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't wait for flawless. Don't wait for the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect conditions. Start messy. Start small. Start now. Progress doesn't demand perfection, only consistency. The habit of execution is not about doing everything at once. It's about doing something today and then doing it again tomorrow and then again the next day until action becomes who you are. Start with what you already know. Don't go chasing 10 new secrets when you haven't yet lived out the ones you already hold. Pick one principle and put it into practice. That one principle acted upon daily can change your health, your wealth, your relationships, your future. Knowledge may fill your mind, but only action will fill your life with results. Build the habit of execution, and your life will never be the same. Everything we've talked about comes down to one thing: crossing the bridge. Knowledge on its own will not change your life. But knowledge, combined with execution, discipline, and consistent action, will create results beyond what you thought possible. The challenge is not whether you know enough. The challenge is whether you'll act on what you already know. So how do you make sure you cross that bridge? How do you build a life where knowledge doesn't just sit in your head but shows up in your results? Let me give you a few practical tips. First, make a daily action list. Not a wish list, not a long plan for the future, but a small, simple list of actions you commit to taking today. The discipline of writing it down focuses your energy, and when you check it off at the end of the day, you feel the satisfaction of progress. Do this long enough, and those little daily victories add up to massive change. Second, accountability. Don't try to walk this bridge alone. Find someone who will hold you to your word. A friend, a mentor, a coach, even a community of people moving in the same direction. When you share your goals and report your progress, it adds weight to your actions. You're no longer just promising yourself. You're promising others. Accountability turns intention into commitment. Third, reflection. Take time to look back. At the end of each day, ask yourself, what did I do with what I knew today? Did I act? Or did I just learn? Reflection turns experience into insight. And insight, when combined with discipline, leads to growth. Without reflection, you can repeat the same mistakes for years. With reflection, even a failure becomes a lesson. And a lesson becomes fuel for the next step. And here's the part most people underestimate: consistency. Consistency is the magic that multiplies small actions into extraordinary results. One workout won't transform your health, but 100 workouts will. $1 saved won't build wealth, but 100 months of saving will. One kind word won't build trust, but 1,000 will. Results don't come from what you do once in a while. They come from what you do day after day, until action becomes habit and habit becomes character. Consistency turns knowledge into compounding results. Just like money earns interest, your actions earn growth, progress, and momentum. Crossing the bridge isn't about doing everything at once. It's about doing something today, then something tomorrow, and refusing to stop. It's about saying, I won't let what I know go to waste. I will act. I will execute. I will turn knowledge into results. So the invitation is simple. Start now. Make your list. Find your accountability. Reflect on your progress. Be consistent. Take what you already know and put it to work. Because in the end, knowledge will make you aware, but only action will make you achieve. Don't just collect wisdom. Cross the bridge. Don't just know the way. Walk it. Don't just dream about results. Create them. And if you do, your life will become the proof that knowledge applied, not just knowledge acquired, is what leads to success. Knowledge makes you aware. It opens your eyes. It gives you understanding. But awareness alone won't buy you freedom. Awareness alone won't build you wealth. Awareness alone won't transform your health or your relationships. Knowledge makes you aware, but only action makes you achieve. Think of it this way. Knowledge is like a lamp. It can light the room. But if you never walk into the room, what good is the light? Knowledge can show you the door, but only action can open it. Knowledge tells you what's possible, but action is what makes it real. That's the difference between a dreamer and a doer, between someone who hopes and someone who achieves. The temptation in life is to keep gathering more, another book, another seminar, another video, another course. And while learning is a wonderful thing, learning without applying becomes a form of delay. You keep preparing, but you never begin. And as the years go by, you wonder why life hasn't changed. It's not because you didn't know, it's because you didn't do. So here's the challenge. Don't just listen, don't just nod, don't just agree. Act on one thing today. Not 10, not 20. 1. Take one principle you already know and put it to work before the day is over. If you know you should exercise, go for a walk. If you know you should save money, put something aside. If you know you should call a loved one, pick up the phone. If you know you should take the first step in a project, start it now. Action has power. Even the smallest action breaks inertia. The first step makes the second step easier. The second step builds momentum. And soon you're not just learning. You're living. You're not just knowing, you're achieving. Imagine if you made this your habit, every single day, one piece of knowledge applied. Just one. Over the course of a year, that's 365 actions. 365 steps closer to the life you want. And the compound effect of that, beyond imagination. Because results don't come in a single leap. They come from consistent daily application of what you already know. So the final message is this. Don't just collect knowledge. Cross the bridge. Don't just admire the map. Take the journey. Don't just point at the horizon. Walk toward it. Don't let your knowledge stay trapped in your notebooks or buried in your mind. Release it. Use it. Turn it into results. Because the bridge between knowledge and results is not built by thinking, it's built by doing. And if you'll step onto that bridge today, you'll discover that success is not as far as it seems. It was always waiting for you on the other side of action. So take the challenge. Fight, 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 fight.